All right.
Your phone's ringing.
We're here live at the World Media Indie Media event.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you a question?
Oh yeah, let's give a brief. Yeah, so telecomics is an
Jeff
ad hoc
Shipley
cluster
and
of internet lovers. We have no formal members, we
Jeff.
have no leaders, we have no mailing address. We're all volunteers. We take no money at all. We largely hang out on IRC network, Internet Relay Chat. It's like think instant messenger, but built from the ground up for multi-user chat. And that is as much as anywhere if we exist, it's there. It's open to the public. We provide a bunch of tech support services, and we'll kind of get into some of that stuff. Uh, we're also really kind of an adhocracy. Like, kind of people just sort of show up and find a project to work on, and if they find collaborators, it gets done, and if they don't, it doesn't. And so, in that spirit, we have no slides. So, we're just going to kind of wing it. Yeah, always winging it. And do-ocracy as well. You can show up, you do things, and just as you see fit. I first found telecomics about January 24th last year, right before the Arab Spring. And at the time, there was a lot of, there was the Arab Spring was in its beginnings, and there was rumblings about, censorship and the internet being shut off. And surely enough, we found discovered that the internet had been shut off in Egypt, confirmed that fact, and started working on a plan to help get around that. That involved everything from helping people set up Tor VPNs, other kinds of encryption. We will make that stuff available to people on a limited basis. Tor we can obviously just help set up. We ran about 500 phone lines, so that after the net was totally unplugged, people could still get online. We sent fax spam, like instructions to every package you could find. With like com support and medical information, like treatments for tear gas, stuff like that. Jeff and I both also worked on a ham radio operation, which was pretty cool. Yeah, someone came into the telecoms main IRC chat, a like 20-year-old kid, and he said, "Hey, I have a bunch of antennas mounted on my house and a bunch of ham radio gear, and my father is his gear, and he hasn't left home when I was really young. How can I help?" And a bunch of people joined a different chat channel and helped him set up this gear and make it functional, and created a Morse code over ham to Twitter relay link, so people could tweet out things through Morse code over ham radio. And we put that in a fax, and it got blasted out, and just a bunch of different things to basically just keep the information flow open. Yeah, and so in Egypt, before the net went out entirely, like Twitter was blocked, and we would get Egyptians on our chat network who couldn't reach Twitter themselves, and we take like reports and photos from them and tweet them out using our account. And like that's the kind of facilitation of communication that we try to do. We don't plan ground ops, we don't plan protests, we certainly don't do anything violent, but we're just trying to keep those lines of communication open and enable people to use them in a way that's
Sorry
secure.
about
So in
this.
Syria in particular, there's massive security concerns, and they're trying to help people avoid in Syria, for example, a lot of people were streaming advanced user, and then the news stream, and then those services were being blocked, so it was helping people stream through different services and set up VPNs and Tor and to help them get past the censorship and blocks. So many other stuff that we can, and so we can help you with this kind of tech stuff, if you're so inclined. The other thing that's sort of the other half of this coin is like it's not enough to give somebody Tor and say, okay, you're anonymous, have a nice day. Right? But this doesn't work for a long time. There's lots and lots of ways you can leak bits about your identity. And so we also kind of do some work around what we call OPSEC or operational security. Basically just sort of making sure that you stay safe and kind of the information you're sharing with people is done in a way that keeps everybody cool. Personally, I I sort of almost, and so a lot of folks that participate are middle A anonymous. It's sort of where we don't know their real identities. That's by choice. Personally, I go for the other extreme, right? I think that sometimes like we get caught in this middle ground of sort of trying to cover our asses, you know, but sort of still trying to be open. And there's no spot in the middle. Like if you're gonna do this stuff, get as many mainstream reporters friends as you can, be as public as you can, or totally be underground. You know,
I mean, this worked out for us last night. I was in the car driving with, I was with Jess Schiff, she was in the passenger seat. Luke, We Are Change, Luke Rudowski. He's the founded wearechange.org, and his video streaming, or video partner, and then Tim Poole. And we had just picked Luke up. Earlier in the day, we found out that we got a report from the person we were staying with. We've been staying with Tim's mother throughout the week, and we didn't mow the lawn, and then they kicked us out. We left at like 8 a.m. every morning, and then we came back at like 11 o'clock at night, or 1. The joke has been, we should have mowed the lawn, it would have been rated. So basically, we were looking for a new place to stay. We had this girl offer us a place to stay. She'd been part of Occupy Chicago. Some people have warned us that, you know, her boyfriend was a police officer. We're journalists. We're not, you know, anything to hide. We're completely transparent to the other extreme, so, you know, it provides protection in that regard. Got a weird vibe at their house. Decided to take everything that morning with us in the car, except for our clothes. Got a call midday, or text saying that the police were at the house. We called this girl. We called the girl. She said the police are not letting her in the house. So at that point, we said, okay, we told Tim and said the police are not letting her in her house. We don't know if they're in or out, or we've been raided or what, but they're surrounding the house, so likely they're inside, that they have been. So he blasted out, and it goes all over the internet, and then she calls back and says, what are you doing? What are you doing? I didn't say that. I'm like, yeah, you did. You were on speakerphone. Multiple people heard you. She said, no, I didn't even approach the police. I didn't even talk to them. I just got scared, so I went away. There's a bunch of supervisors and squad cars and, you know, police officers. So I thought that was a bit odd. And she said, whatever you do, don't go to the house. So we went to the house. And we walked up to the house, and I walked up to the back door, and I heard a slow beeping. And that sounds like a fire alarm or something. I went back to the car, told them what I found, walked back to the house again with someone else, and now it was like full blare. It's an alarm. So I thought this was really weird. I called her. She said, check the door. The door was open. She said it was supposed to be locked. Went back to the car again, got a couple more people, and came back to the house. The alarm was off and been disarmed. We don't know how it became disarmed in that amount of time. And obviously, so now she tells us, go in the house and look around. We went in the house and looked around. We set off the alarm again. It went for about a minute, 30 seconds till it went to full blare. So that means that someone had been in the house for a minute, 30 seconds prior to us finding the full blare the first time. We go in, we disable the alarm, look around, nothing seems touched or anything, and we decided to get out of there after we disabled the alarm. The cops might be coming, and she says, leave the door open. No, we want to lock it. Leave the door open. And then she said, no, I did lock the door. No, I never said I locked the door. It was like conflicting reports. So we go out, we keep, you know, breaking stories all day, streaming, and doing all this stuff. We're, you know, we're basically running a mobile command center in our vehicle. You know, 2 laptops, police scanners, radios, satellite tweeting device, all this stuff. And so we're doing this, and we finally picked Tim and Luke up at the end of the day over on Halstead and what's the name of the street? I don't know, something like 23rd. And we pick them up, and we say, you know, we start talking about the day and how it happened, so we figure out something's up. So, by the way, earlier in the day, also between this time, we called her, and she said she wanted the NLG to come to the house with us, but she wouldn't call the NLG. So we thought this was weird. She also told us that her friend was one of the NATO 5 that was arrested, that was her friend's house, some girl there. So as we're finding out, there's a potential informant now in that group, and there's some suspicious stuff going on. So now we call the NLG says they can't help. So we call her, and Tim calls her and is talking to her, and she's acting very odd. He says, is your boyfriend a cop? Yes. And he says, oh, are you lying? Like, why are you story not matching up? And she gets really weird, and they end up hanging up the phone, and about 10 seconds after, he says, why is this not working? So at that point, we're driving down random back street, and we turn right on the street. It ends up being Racine, which is the street off of where our house is. Now we're driving through an industrial area in Racine. There's no cars behind us, no nothing. We're talking about how weird this all is, and if we think something's been planted in the house, and how do we get our stuff without potentially walking into a setup. And I see lights in the distance behind us, blue lights. I go, someone's coming down, here comes a motorcade. Like, it's a weird area for a motorcade, okay. So we go under a bridge, and then first a gray Crown Victoria pulls up right past us and just skids to a stop right in front of us. And everyone goes, "We're being raided, this is it." Tim starts his stream, Dustin starts his camera, Luke starts his stream. "Get out of the car, fucking hands in the air." So Luke's got his hands like this, cops come up, guns drawn to the car. I've got my hands on one, I'm like, "What is the meaning of this, officer?" And he won't tell me. Luke goes Hadouken style like this with his camera. He goes, "Don't shoot, it's just a camera." So he's recording with his camera like this. Dustin's got his camera like this. Tim started to stream, he's got a shit grin on his face because he knows this is all being streamed. Like, yeah, and so at this point, I've got my hands out the window. They tell me that, take your one hand and put it on the seatbelt, open it up. They pull us out of the car, put me on the hood, and start handcuffing everybody. I hear an officer say, "We found them," to someone else. And I'm like, "Okay, this is it, like NDAA, we're gone for the week or something, my girlfriend's gonna kill me, like, okay, this is gonna be interesting." And so Tim's, by the way, still got the shitty grin on his face because he knows that the stream is going in the background. And cops start going through the car like crazy. They ask for my ID, they frisk me, they kick my feet apart, frisk me, frisk everyone. Tim's in cuffs. Jess was in the passenger seat, Jess_Schiff on Twitter. She's been a journalist, like live tweeting this whole thing, helping me navigation. We're doing ops in the car. And so we're all handcuffed. Luke and Dustin can handcuff their partners, and we are technically handcuffed together in the back with their hands on the window, which is funny. And so the car's getting searched, and they're taking the phone, hitting it on the dashboard, looking to see if it's got a password, showing a supervisor. And they're asking me why I haven't time passport as a citizen. They're asking me where you're in Italy, what other countries you've been in, blah, blah, blah. They take my wallet, and I've got a stack of credit cards in here, and they take this stack of cards separate from everything, looks through it, hands it to another guy, like a supervisor, a white shirt. He takes it, gives it to another guy. They start writing down the information, looking at my business cards. I also noticed today that I went for a Crashbase sticker, which is a hackerspace sticker, and it says on the back, research, collaborative, social activity. My Crashbase stickers aren't in here, neither are my Crashbase business cards. I think they might take this, but I digress. So my cards end up leaving my possession and going back to someone else and getting handed to an officer or someone in an unmarked car as he was writing things down. So they're asking us lots of questions: where do you live, what's your address, I'm between houses, I'm traveling, I don't know. Meanwhile, we're looking at them going to the car, and they take Tim's Energizer batteries, which look like external hard drive, and they're smashing them on the running board of the car. Ding, ding, ding. You can hear it in the video. They take my Seagate new external hard drive that I just backed up, so it's like fresh backup. I haven't deleted all the old computer yet. Gink, gink, gink on the running board. What are they doing? Like, are they trying to destroy our stuff? Are they like Zoolandering, like trying to get in the computer? Like, so we're watching this. Tim still got the shitty grin on his face, and Luke's in the back like, "We have a right to film." And anyway, they ask us more questions. We make a couple jokes about the State Department, and they never asked for Tim's ID, and they never searched Tim. And they did this to him and pointed at him to another officer. Goes, like, and he's just sitting there. Like, you couldn't see it, but I had a grin on my face. I'm like, "Oh, well, we saw it." And so anyway, this all happens. I don't think I'm missing any details. Yeah, so anyway, hold on, let me get back to the story.
So you're all cuffed.
So they end up telling us that, a supervisor comes up, most of the officers had badges covered, and says, you were pulled over because you match the description of a car we're looking for. We're in a 99 black Lexus with New Mexico plates. I haven't seen another one driving around. I'm pretty sure there's not another one. No. So they say, "Get out of here. You don't have a American driver's license on you, so he should drive, and get out of here." So we immediately called NLG, and I left a message for producer NBC, and blah, blah, blah.
And start tweeting that. So I was actually up, and this is at like 1:30, 2 in the morning, and I'm trying to go to bed, and I'm up, and I have access to some pretty large Twitter accounts, and so this comes across, and out it goes. It was all over the mainstream press today. Okay? And if these guys weren't as well known, I don't know, maybe we don't see it. Right?
Yeah, how many times has that happened to other people, and people that are more private, you can just be grabbed.
Right.
They can say you had something on you, boom, gone. So really sketchy situation.
Should we talk about some of the stuff we've been up to this in the last
Yeah, the last like days in there.
Yeah, last couple days. Cool. Yeah. Oh gosh. So some of the stuff Telecomic's been doing, we set up mirrors for natoprotest.org, because they were basically mirroring is you've got a site that's under threat of DDoS or denial of service or just too much traffic or whatever, and you basically make a copy onto another server and do that kind of stuff. been doing a bunch of work with these guys. We got a tip about, oh gosh, maybe 5, 6 days ago about cell service being cut off in the red zone. We can talk a little more about what actually happened. Try and come up with alternative ways of keeping connectivity going, Wi-Fi's, various other sort of things. And then just also sort of just generally communicating. Like once you broke your police scanner, kind of
Right, yeah, you run the scanner app. My scanner knocked off the table at Starbucks after I got chased out of a parking lot by undercovers. Black SUV. I went to Starbucks and I knocked it off the table and splattered everywhere. And this police scanner's gone. So he was on a police scanner right away.
I've just been happy. I mean, I just work back now. I've just been in my office in front of my computer for days. These guys are out running around, but you need that, right? You need that sort of technical support, kind of, right? Like this technology's complicated, and you need also just people helping you out, right? Like we don't go out, we don't just go do this ourselves, and it's a safety thing as much as anything else.
Keeping information flow open, like managing information, retweeting things and just like investigating disinformation before it gets out, and those police scanners, like that stuff becomes critical in getting, getting information out when things are happening really fast in the protest. It becomes really overwhelming for one or two people to do it. You know, there's a lot of information on the internet. There's streams, there's tweets, there's pictures, there's this, there's that. So, it takes a bit to manage. So information facilitation is really, really important. Wi-Fi. Well, we're working on a Wi-Fi coverage in case cell phone network went out, but we found that most of the businesses and most of the people that lived around the area were really scared of the protest. And even though they were sympathetic and they were totally for the protesters and for free press, they weren't willing to extend their.
Basically, we were looking for people who would let us use their cable PSN modem and put a Wi-Fi repeater on it.
Or even a tall balcony and let us put a repeater so we can feed to a data center. So, but we could also have, we did this to Occupy Congress as well. Occupy Congress, we were told that the cell service might go down as well, so we bought a bunch of radios from Home Depot and Radio Shack, and then connected them, these like handheld GPRS radios, to a bunch of laptops in the hotel room right by the Capitol lawn, so if people's streams went down, they could still be audio streams. And so we set up this radio backup network. We also set up here, so we got a bunch of real radios, we've had a radio, but at all times this radio has been connected and ready to be plugged into the computer to do audio streaming.
And just having all those different options, all those different backups is really important. I'm sure folks have seen the van video from last night of this CPD van plowing through a crowd of protesters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary.
Was that you guys? I don't know who got
No, that was TRWBS, another streamer.
Yeah. So we got actually for 2 streams off of that. Not only did that go out rather quickly, we had full plates and vehicle identification number on the thing, and a screen capture of the driver within 45 minutes of this thing being up on the internet. Yeah. So we'll see if anything actually happens out of that. I mean, it's CPD, but just like that's what the kind of thing this technology is making possible, right? That sort of to be able to take that raw footage that's fairly clear, like it doesn't need a lot of interpretation, but also that sort of second level stuff, and like, okay, this car is whizzing by, and we pull out a freeze frame. People, like this is where the internet kind of is like next leveling beyond kind of those broadcast media. So.
Yeah, and then cell outages. Yeah, today we witnessed some interesting stuff happening with people's streams. So we're trying to figure out exactly what was going on. But we saw what we think was throttling today, where we have a source that works for a company called Securitas over the last 3 months, helping them implement a piece of software called Vigilance or Vigilant Dashboard. And this software allows for monitoring of cell phones, social media, all kinds of things. And you can set alerts on each person, you can set a radius, and all these things, and can potentially allow them to throttle and remove certain services. So your SMS will still work. People are saying that cell service is going to go down completely. That would be silly for the DHS and for others to do because they wouldn't get critical information about people coordinating.
Not only that, if you look at what happened in Egypt, right, or what happened, I was actually one of the organizers of the BART protest in San Francisco. Does ring any bells for anybody?
Yeah, for sure.
Right. when governments totally cut things off, people get really pissed, right? And so, and we can talk more about that, like, I think what we saw today may have been a lot more selective. Whether that was, it's really hard to tell, right? There's just so many people and so dense, like in cell bandwidth, because we live in the States and our telecom sucks, is pretty limited. And so it's hard to tell, like, are they throttling, are they just kind of, is it just overloaded? But I think that we're not likely to see that kind of broad cutoffs of service entirely.
We saw Luke actually have problems on his stream the most today, and which fits perfectly that he might have actually been throttled and disconnected because he was one of his the We Are Change members yesterday was arrested 10 minutes after approaching Luke, was taken to a Department of Homeland Security fusion center, asked what Luke was wearing, who he came from New York with, and what he was saying.
I spent actually much of the afternoon like going through about a dozen streams and just trying to find, and I'm sure I've been watching some of the people who were here, and just sort of tweeting out and trying to find stuff that was interesting going on. And so, like when Luke and Tim and you were having outages too, right? We're
Yeah.
physically close together. Like there were people who were further distance. Those streams were still up. So something very odd was happening. Like if just one of those guys, like the hotspots overheat, or you just lose connectivity, I can leave, but like
Multiple.
for that kind of physical correlation at sort of really heated moments, almost certainly seems deliberate.
And we know that the SWAT teams for CPD and for other agencies around the United States have selective jamming services that allow them to, when they pull up to a house to raid them, they can shut off GPRS, they can shut off Wi-Fi, they can do whatever they want, 100-foot range, 100-meter range type of thing. So I didn't see those antennas on anyone's stream. I was working at the Starbucks command center all day, but I know they exist. So we're trying to figure out exactly what happened. Something was going on for sure. Like EMP kind of a big blast right of everything, but these are very specific. You can say, kill this and this, jam this and this for this distance, you're not affecting other people.
And so there's lots of ways this can happen. They can just go call up AT&T and be like, turn team off,
Right.
just individually, right? They can also say, okay, they can figure out, right? We know about cell phone tracking. They can figure out what tower he's on and just turn that tower off. Not really clear, but like, I feel like it might be more like something a lot more localized, but like, something was weird. Like something was very, very weird.
Luke has been getting.
I was part of the Veterans Peace Team, so I was communicating with them, and I contacted one person to find out when they were coming, where we were going to meet. And she accidentally kind of like butt texted me with this whole like series of letters and numbers and symbols. So as a joke, I just texted her back and I said, I got your message. I'm going to respond out of code. Call me when you get here. Just joking. My whole phone shut down. The power was on, but any button I pushed, nothing happened. Nothing. My IM, nothing worked. I mean, my texting, nothing worked. I don't know.
Yes, I
And
was
then it
talking.
started working after the protest when I got back home.
Well, we were scouting for tall buildings. I was talking back and forth with someone. I said something about a tall building, and I said McCormick. I was like, what am I doing? Like, this is going to trigger something. And sure shit, we're at a meeting with, I think Kevin, you were there. It was that appetizer meetup up in somewhere that way. I'm still in Chicago. And I couldn't send text for the next 10 minutes. I was completely disabled. So,
We don't know. We don't know. You can drive yourself crazy with this
Yeah.
stuff. Like technology breaks all the time anyway.
Yeah.
And then, you put yourself in a situation like this and it breaks and it's like, is it better?
heavy usage.
Right.
Yeah. We do know that AT&T and Verizon brought in extra towers to support the load.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with mobile towers. May have tweeted or forgot to tweet it, but mobile towers like the kind they bring out to concerts and stuff like that to support extra load. So that makes me think about the load problem less.
Yeah. And the other thing is to keep in mind, your mainstream media can be your friends on some of this stuff too. Like some of this information you got about
About the jams.
About
the potential shut-off.
about potential shut-off came from a mainstream news source. Like, they're up on that bus, right? Everybody see this today? That bus,
Yeah.
riding in front of the protest, like, with a bunch of TV cameras on it. Like, what kind of footage did you guys get? But like, I mean, also just, I heard, Washington, Boots and these other guys chatting over the last few days with those guys, and like, I think I have a lot of respect for, the work.
Yeah, they've been doing like a couple of the big stations specifically. I can't say who, but I mean they got, they've been doing a lot of coverage. We've been sharing and collaborating, and they're like, no, it's great to collaborate. Thank you so much. And they're sending us tips, and we're sending them tips. And when we were called a citizen journalist on NBC, one of the producers sent a company-wide memo out saying citizen journalists are this, and these are the kind of journalists, and like we've been collaborating. And it's been really nice. So it's good to see that.
And it's unfortunate, we still need them. Right? Like,
For the time being.
That sort of, Tim had at max 5,000, he's the largest streamer I saw today. The most people he had watching at one time was 5,000 people. How many people were watching CNN? How many people were watching ABC? Right? Like, yeah, it sucks because they have look, everybody's got a perspective, and they have a real perspective that I think we all can agree is really problematic. Like, my mom told me once that, she watches MSNBC and Fox for balance. Right? Like, the split here politically, I think, is not left versus right anymore. I think it's internet versus television.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Everything on CNBC and all that is controlled.
Yeah.
They don't show you what needs to be shown.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Except, they still have this enormous legacy audience. Right? And, Quinn Norton, who writes for Wired, has described Anonymous as fundamentally media hackers. And I think she's right. Like, and in some broad sense, like, what we do here is similar. Eventually, yeah, those things are going to go away, and it's just going to be the internet. It's going to be awesome. That's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time. And we can get there, and until we get there, we have to work through those channels.
And a lot of people classify mainstream media as their enemy. And just like not use them at all. But there's always quotes about use your enemy's strengths to your weaknesses and such and such. And as we're reaching this point where finally streaming is reusable and mobile, and we're able to actually be out there streaming from mobile, we're still in the transitional phases. And it's good to start seeing some of the mainstream media work with and set up streams and operate like that. So we're in the early stages. It's really cool, really promising, fantastic. But yeah, I think you're right.
I think the other thing that just looking at more the technical side is going to need to happen is we need to decentralize at a technical level. Oh my gosh, we need to decentralize.
The whole internet.
Well, the whole internet. The streams in particular, right? I mean, there's what? 3, 4 services? Ustream, Livestream, Bamboo, and Quick, which is run by Skype. Okay. For a good chunk of week before this, Ustream was down globally because it got a denial of service attack from Russia. Because there was one guy broadcasting out of Russia and took the whole service down. Right? Like, this is really kind of a core of our comics thing, sort of decentralized, right? Like, we need software that we can run on, your home server, and you can run on your phone, and we're not all tied into these centralized services. Like, because if we do that, we're just replicating that mainstream thing all over. Sure, anybody can use it, but it's still this single point of failure, right? That's the interconnection of this, but we can get beyond that, right? It's redundant. It's made out of glue, bubblegum and popsicle sticks. And it breaks, but that's awesome because it means we just get some more popsicle sticks and we can fix it.
Yeah, decentralizing is really, really key and important. It's cool because, a good example of decentralizing, you guys might know, BitTorrent and, peer-to-peer file sharing services that are decentralized. And the reason they're so difficult to take down and to stop because they're distributed around is the power of, community, crowdsourcing, distributed networks. And
yeah, I mean, there's a social or human element too, right? Like, these guys got rated. How many live streamers did? Right? They can't get us all. Right?
So I see last night, I think, like, 20 minutes, we're gonna move on to them, and should
I
we?
just want to ask you a question. Do you know anything about what happened to the CBD or the Chicago website?
I think it got DDoS.
it got DDoS.
It got DDoS.
Twice.
Anybody else?
Yes, in a global sense, well, last year's Arab Spring, was there any tactics that you found useful, or how globally are you connected to things like that? I mean, what happened in Egypt like last year?
We both worked on that.
Say
I
that
don't know
again?
if energy came late, like, but we both worked on Egypt.
We did a whole
Oh yeah, I missed that.
load of things, faxes, there was a mission planning where there was a sailboat sitting off, to be sitting off of Libya, to be repeating Wi-Fi to shore and sneaking
Okay.
antennas in and sending fax machines out to 60,000 fax machines a day. So it's global, and people all around the world, and yeah, it was more of that crowdsourcing community decentralization.
That said, a 10,000 person FEMA camp is really big enough for all of us. And so, I do a lot of press work, and I get some flack for that. Like, really, we need to go out and inspire people. Like, we need to go out there. There's so much work to be done, whether on the reporting side, on the technical side, on the organizing side, and I think that by talking about what we do and making it sound as cool and epic and awesome as it actually is, we show people what's possible. Sometimes we're gonna get flack for it, and sometimes a lot of people are gonna sit on their couch, but maybe one person joins or 10 people join. That's how it goes. Okay. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question for you. The Ustreams that everybody goes to, they're backed up within by the time you sign up, sign back on, and saves the files, and they can watch it after the fact. My question is though, if those specific accounts were taken down, all that archive footage is then lost up. Is there? I mean, you can intercept the files after the fact. Is there any efforts into mirroring the Ustream accounts? Because what happened last night? We had Luke, we had Tim, everybody in the car. And there's maybe 3 or 4 different police streams, drawn to different accounts that because they're all have cameras in their hands. You were with them. Once it's saved to a server, you can save it off there by intercepting everything. Is there any effort to make sure that there's a process behind the scenes that is actively doing that we can mirror out these, it's basically like mirroring out a YouTube account. Like if it went down, you're going to lose the files. Is there a way to make sure those are archived?
There is not an automatic, it's a great question. There's not an automatic way of doing it that makes me want to make an automatic way of doing it now.
Exactly.
But right now it's the community. People are pulling it off, doing screen captures and logging it, which is great, but there should be an automatic way until we can create a decentralized system to do this, type of streaming. The thing that happened last night was that Ustream, on Luke's account, wasn't auto-configured to
save it. When you turn it off, you lost the...
Yeah, they hit off, and then it says, would you like to archive the footage, and they click no. And they targeted that phone because that was the one I think you were saying,
But on my computer, if I'm watching a stream, I can actually intercept the stream.
You can screen capture.
Yeah, so why can't we put together a server that would be able to monitor the 5 streams, just make sure it's on a hard drive so there's a backup. Can we build an archive? Can we make this
Let's build an archive.
He's
Build
got
an
it.
archive. Come to Comics, let's build an archive.
Yeah, there's a server spot in France that a bunch of servers have just been donated, so we could probably put it there.
Okay.
Figure it out.
Oh, yeah, we got a question, and then that's.
What steps need to be taken to decentralize citizen media to overtake the corporate control mainstream media?
Abolish the FCC?
Good plan.
Yeah.
Time, quality. I mean, the more stuff we put out, it's really, this is going to take us the rest of our lives. This is not I've been doing this almost full time for the last year and a half, and everything feels so important right now. Everything feels so important right now. This is going to take a really, really long time. It took us a long time to get into this mess, and whether that's media, political, those things are much the same. It's going to take us a long time to get out.
And I think that's actually a good thing because we're really interested in a quote from a friend, Paul Breed. He's a part of a team called Reasonable Rocket. He runs it. And it could be the Google Lander Challenge. He's a rocket scientist. He uses all his money to make rockets and compete in these big challenges and make landers land on a dime. Anyway, he said, when we asked him why he's interested in what he's doing, he's like, because it's worthy. It's hard enough to be worthy of being worked on. So I think it's a great thing that we have this to conquer and to work on, and it will take a long time, but we know what we need to do. So
Isn't it the
do it.
education?
Pardon?
Education. To take it over, we have to
a really good.
It's not that difficult, we just need to explain to people.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, I've been working on Montreal stuff. There's Montreal stuff there too the last couple of days, and the best reporting is out of a community TV station. And right smack up on their homepage, next to all their play test footage, is a little box that says, "We have trainings, you know, Saturdays at noon," or whatever. Like, yeah, just go out, spread those skills.
I think it's important that, so it's a combination of tools and education. Give someone the tools they don't know how to use, they don't use it properly. Build the tools, educate people. There we go. Together. Yeah.
Humans and machines.
Yes.
All right.
Our next we're having Kevin Deep and Margaret Flowers. And they can tell you a little bit about what they've been doing. Margaret is a pediatrician who has been working in single-payer healthcare, and Kevin is a lawyer who's been, I think he's been occupying. Anyway, tell us more about it.
Our last talk was a good introduction of what we're going to talk about. What we want to focus on is one of the really great things about Occupy. I've been doing political work, activism work since law school back in, I graduated in 1980. And what's really great about Occupy, one of the things great about Occupy is it brought a lot of different issues together, people with lots of interest and skills together, multi-generational, and I think one reason is because we have a common roadblock, and that's corporate power. That's concentrated wealth. And a central part of that concentrated wealth and power is the media. And so we started to call the media the FOG, and FOG stands for Forces of Greed. I really urge you to use that. I use that on radio shows and such. Once you start using that, all the FOG, the FOG is, we got to clear the FOG. The FOG's getting more intense. People really get it. People understand that the forces of greed are a big challenge, and that really is. It's, we tend to look at what we're trying to do as weakening the power structure and pulling people to our side on various columns of power. We see 9 columns of power, and I think media is one of the key ones. And what we want to talk about is how to break down that power structure of the media that you guys are talking about, and how we can build from where we are and make that happen.
Yeah, so I was introduced as being somebody that advocated for single payer, and that's kind of where I got started in advocacy work. But and we were very active during the push for health reform at the federal level, and it was pretty clear there that there was an intentional blackout of single payer. Actually, Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting did a study and showed that single payer was much more likely to be talked about negatively in the media. I mean, like 98% negative to 2% positive. And there was all this misinformation that was going out there. Wendell Potter has talked about this in his book, Deadly Spin. And it was pretty clear to me, like talking to reporters, that they would interview me and they would totally twist what I said, or they would interview somebody that had a completely different viewpoint and they would really like highlight that. So this whole misinformation campaign is out there, and that's actually, after that experience was when we started organizing the application that we ran, or didn't run, but helped organize in Freedom Plaza, Washington, D.C., because we started in April 2011. So it was pretty clear that we all face the same obstacle, and that if we're working on single advocacy, single issue advocacy work, none of us are going to have the power to overcome that. But if we started coming together and working strategically and with intention, that we could start to change things. I wanted to mention, have very many of you heard about the most recent version of the NDAA that passed in the House on Friday? Yes. About the provision in there? So just for those if anybody hasn't, there's an amendment. It was a bipartisan amendment put into the latest version of NDAA, and it
when it's bipartisan, we got problems. Corporatists will agree.
I'm so sick of bipartisan, but so basically what it repealed is something that was passed in 1948. It took like 3 years for them to pass it. It was called the Smith-Lund Act, and it basically made it illegal for the military to use the propaganda that they use globally within the United States.
No, so
And
helps
so
here.
this repeals that, now allowing the Pentagon to use that propaganda
in the Department of Defense as well.
Right, so, even people within the Pentagon have anonymously showed concern about the fact that there are no checks and balances once they started this passing and they start using this propaganda. So the fog is going to get thicker, so our job is getting more important.
Yeah, I mean, and you realize, of course, the fog getting thicker at this point in the military-industrial complex area. Whenever we go into a military conflict, the only people who are commentators are retired generals, retired colonels, who all work the military-industrial complex building weapons, and then they go on TV. And the Pentagon briefs them and gives them special information, so when they go on TV, they give the Pentagon spin. And so that's when it was all illegal to propagandize us. Now it's going to be legal, and this kind of thing doesn't get put in legislation by accident. This is an intentional act on their part because they know what's coming. And they know what's coming is continued decline of our economy. It's going to stop and start with little upgrades, but then downgrade with upgrades, because that's just the reality of where the economy is. All the best economists I talk to, say the same thing. We do a lot of work on economics. We have a website called itsourEconomy.us. We focus a lot on democratizing the economy. We see a lot of what's going on in all these areas about democratizing various aspects of our lives, including the media. The citizen media, the democratized media is critical. But we're going to be seeing a much more intense propaganda system used against us, as bad as it already is. It's going to get worse, and that's because they put this in the law for a reason. They don't want to be able to do the sock puppets. They want to use the sock puppets on Facebook to put out false information. They don't want to get prosecuted for doing that. I was doing a project called Stop the Chamber, focused on the Chamber of Commerce, and Anonymous got into a fight with Aaron Berg, who has a private security firm, HB Gary, was all HB Gary, and they do work for the Pentagon and for big corporations, and we were going after the Chamber of Commerce, and so this big law firm in Washington, D.C. Huntington Williams was where all the big corporations work out. It's a big lobbying corporate law firm. Was hired by the Chamber of Commerce, and they were going to do a whole attack on critics of the Chamber of Commerce. But they got in front of Anonymous, and that was a mistake. Because Anonymous took over their website, this Department of Defense security site. These guys do security for DoD. They took over their website, put all sorts of anonymous stuff on the website, and then the great thing they did was they downloaded 75,000 emails from the CEO and published them all. And in those emails was talk about going after groups like us with sock puppets and fake websites, fake documents to discredit us, follow our kids around, all sorts of bizarre stuff. Thank goodness we got exposed and didn't happen. But that's what they want to do legally now. And that's what they want to do what we're doing. That's what's coming. So we have to be prepared. I hope that the telecomics folks are really honing their skills, because we're going to need a lot of them. And so we're also starting at a point where we're not weak either.
I have a question.
We're getting stronger.
What are they afraid of?
Well,
The no, the envy?
What they're afraid of, I think, is the truth. That is the issue. It's all that they want to propagandize with lies, and you want to not be prosecuted for it. We're trying to get the truth out. That's what the fight is. It's truth versus fiction. That's what it's about.
Okay, but why?
And they're afraid of those lies.
But because they have to win the public over to their side. I mean, that's pretty clear. They have to
make money.
They're very afraid. They're very afraid that they have the biggest golden goose in history. They don't want to stop at laying eggs. That golden goose is gigantic. I mean, it's made some super, super wealthy, concentrated wealthy people. And they're the ones who fund the government. They're the ones who fund the people who run for office. They're the ones who give the people who are in office now jobs and they leave. That's the most effective way to drive them, is to give them jobs and they leave.
I'm sorry, isn't there just a certain amount of inertia at this point too, especially within the surveillance state? I mean, post 9/11, the amount of money that's been spent since then, I mean, isn't the answer why do they care? Well, why are they doing it? Because they can at this point.
They gotta spend the money.
Just perpetuating, their own reason for existence to keep the.
And plus, they see us getting stronger. They see us. They see the kind of work we're all doing. They see people getting mobilized. They see people getting organized. And people standing up. Once people start to stand up, I mean, that's out the bag. People aren't going back in. They're going to try to scare us back in with these terror prosecutions we're seeing with the NATO 5. They're going to try to scare people back in. But it's out. People aren't going to give up. their political speech and assembly rights now that we started to finally reclaim them again. And they're afraid of that. They know the economy keeps going down. They know that the safety is going to keep getting shredded. They know the jobs are going to get, incomes are going to continue to drop as in this so-called recovery, which is not really recovery. In this recovery, the jobs that are replacing the ones that we lost are earning $20,000 less a year. And so they know we're going down. They know kids are leaving school now with incredible burden, financial burden, and lousy job prospects. People are going to get more and more pissed as this reality hits. And they're afraid of that. So they want to be able to propagandize us. And the media is the key battleground. We have to take control of the media. We're much closer than we think. I totally agree with what you said earlier, that they still have a lot of power, and people watch them, balance MSNBC with Fox, and get the truth at CNN. And it's like, they're all telling the same thing. They show what they want to show, and they're trying to mislead us. But we are more strong than we realize. Look at what telecoms do, look at Amazon, look what we're doing in our occupies, look at the work we're doing to stop evictions and foreclosures and challenging the criminal justice system. We are awake, and they are afraid of that. And they're going to keep trying to take power. People are waking up. And that's what's so interesting about single payer. Margaret talked about how they were propagandizing us during the whole Obama year of reform. But the reality is 2/3 of Americans support single payer, even with the propaganda.
It reminded me of a funny story because we're part of the group that filed an amicus brief with the Supreme Court opposing the individual mandate and arguing that we actually should just do single payer. So we were down at the Supreme Court when they were doing the hearing, and there was this Radio Row in a church nearby. It was progressive radio, and actually the radio station where we have our show was there. And they said, why don't you stop by, maybe we can do an interview. So we were sitting around in there. We noticed everybody was like saying the same thing. So I said to one of the guys that was organizing it, like, how does this work? And he said, oh, the radio people tell us what slots they have, and we give them appropriate speakers. So Kevin actually finally convinced these guys at our radio station to interview him, but the woman that was running it got ticked off that he wasn't one of their appropriate speakers. So she asked us to leave. Well, I was just getting ready to do a live radio interview with KBFA in LA, and I wanted to do it from the lobby of the building, because it was really noisy outside. And so I just walked out to the lobby into a little corner to do this live interview, and Russell McIver, another person who worked with Single Payer Action, was also being interviewed. So Russell and I are standing over there in the corner getting ready to do this live interview, and this woman walks over and she says, you have to leave the building. I said, I promise I'll leave in 5 minutes, just let me do this. She comes back with security guards, right? Like I'm such a threat because I'm talking about single payer, right? So literally I'm on this interview, this like live radio interview, and I'm like, I'm really sorry, but I'm in this building with the progressive radio station, and they're kicking me out because I'm talking about single payer. And that's how controlled it is.
That was the Democratic version.
In
fact, they said, hey, the Republicans do it too. That was their defense. That was their defense. Well, the Republicans do it too, so of course we have to do it. But if you look at the trend lines on media, corporate newspapers, for example, peak readership, 1984. It's going down mainstream data. And it's been going down steadily since then. And you look at the profits that are going down, they're more conglomerate, they're more concentrated. There's less jobs, there's less investigative reporting going on. Their economic models are not working as well. And the same is true with these cable outlets. The biggest cable outlets, in the hundreds of thousands of viewers. These are not that gigantic. And we are much bigger, and on the other hand, we are the opposite direction. We're getting bigger, we're getting more dispersed, more people involved, we're getting more viewers, and we're getting more credibility. The credibility of the corporate media, Pew polls, being like asked the question, are you getting the full story, do you trust the media? It's like 20 to 29% believe the corporate media. They're in bad shape. And so if we make an issue of this NDAA thing, where they're trying to allow propaganda, and make a point about that, even if we don't stop it in the Senate, we're letting people know that, look, you're going to trust the media even less. And so their credibility is going down, their resources are going down, their concentrated ownership is shrinking, and that makes them weaker. When you read about nonviolent change, one of the things that makes movements strong is becoming a mass movement that's diverse and creative. And like you're talking about, breaking things down to more people being involved, decentralizing, that makes us more creative, that makes us harder to attack, and that's the direction we have to go. as they get more concentrated, that's going to weaken them. They're going to lose their creativity. They're going to lose their number of people working with them. And what's interesting about it also is the people who work for the corporate media get it. Whenever we talk to the corporate media, we like to say things like, wouldn't it be great if the writers and editors own the newspapers there, this conglomerate in far off city? And they always agree with us. The corporate media gets it. They don't want to be part of it. I asked early on in Freedom Plaza, I asked one of the news reporters at a local TV station, why are we getting so much coverage? And he says, you know why? Because the corporate media agrees with you. We feel insecure too. We feel the wealth divide. We feel the insecurity in our jobs. You know that there are less jobs as these conglomerates develop. There's less jobs. Talking to a radio person from what's it called, Sirius XM, and she says that she has no health insurance. They cut their salaries because they didn't get rid of them. They're replaceable. So they're insecure too. And if we show them that there's somewhere else to go, as we develop our democratized media, both web, print, and there's all these occupying newspapers. DC has two. We used to have the Washington Times, now it's called Mic Check. We have the Occupy Washington Post.
DC Mic Check.
DC Mic Check, right? DC Mic Check, which is a beautiful, glossy magazine-like newspaper. But we have print media, we have web media, we have radio media. Margaret and I have a show called Clearing the Fog, Creative Forces of Greed. And we're developing television. Real News Network is doing amazing work. So we have a lot to build from. We have a lot to build from. We have to really act with intention, knowing that our goal is to reach that tipping point as quickly as we can, where the democratized media and the independent media really dominates. And we have to go on two paths at the same time. We have to go on a path of protesting what we don't like and building what we want. We have to do both. As you protest what you don't like, you're not only creating awareness and visibility and education of people, because you're highlighting the corruption of the system. And in this case, the corruption of the corporate media, that we can't trust it, it's not credible, it's manipulated, it's corporate owned, it's filled with government speak, the government and corporations work together. We can make all those points constantly. That's the protest part. And there's also the part of building what we want.
Right. So in terms of the protest, a really important thing is to tell the truth. There's a Orwellian quote from George Orwell that says, in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. That's kind of where we are right now. So like Kevin said, exposing the NDAA is really important. Also, using the media to help us expose what's going on is real important. You talked about the corporate media. So we did an action back in May of 2009 in the Senate Finance Committee when we found that the hearings, the healthcare hearings, were only allowing, it was a pay to play. The people that were getting to testify were the people that had made large campaign contributions, and the people that actually had the health policy expertise were being shut out. So we went to one of the hearings, a number of us, 8 of us, and got in. It was a public hearing, and C-SPAN cameras were rolling. They were rolling. It was live. We stood up one by one and exposed what was going on. One of the current president of Veterans for Peace, who we work with, Leah Bolger, went into the super committee hearing. Again, the C-SPAN cameras are rolling, and she went into the well and faced the members of the committee face to face and told them they were fraudulent, they didn't represent the people, the information they were giving was wrong, that we knew how to fix the deficit, end the wars, tax the rich. We were outside in the hall, chanting along. But these are real opportunities in terms of using that media reach to bring visibility, to expose actually what is going on. It's been such a long day. We've been trying to read a lot about how does nonviolent change work, how do other movements succeed. In Poland, kind of a cool thing that they did, and telecomics might appreciate this, is there was a time when there was a real kind of a lull in the activity that was going on. And so they actually had a machine that they could go into neighborhoods, and they would do this at peak viewing time of the television, and it would interrupt the television's channel and put their message on instead. And it was like, the resistance is still here, we're continuing to fight, so these kinds of
We want that. Come on, guys, we want that technology.
It's really important to use humor to draw people in. So how many of you have heard of the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership?
very many.
It's a pretty.
It's a major, major trade agreement.
This is a new code word for free trade agreement and partnership, so.
Because free trade agreements are so unpopular now, people know what they are, they have to come up with a new name. Partnership.
The TPP is pretty far reaching, but they had a meeting just recently in Texas, and the trade representatives were there. Were you there? And the Yes Men did a stunt where they actually went in and did a corporate power tool award.
Yes, it was brilliant.
Our trade representative was the former mayor of Dallas when meetings were being held.
Yeah.
Ron Kirk.
Were you there?
I was there.
You were there, right? Yeah. So that was.
It really confused them. When Yes Men got up there, they looked like they were part of the meeting, and the guy, they weren't sure, the trade representative almost came up and took the award. but people security said, no, don't take that award. You don't want to be filmed taking that award, the corporate tool award.
Power tool or something like that. Pretty funny. So another thing is, we can also use the legal system, and I think that that's something that can be used sparingly, but it can be used to challenge what's going on. Right now, it's happening around Rupert Murdoch, and right after it was exposed in the UK that they were bribing people to get the news and kind of even bribing the police. Kevin sent a letter to the FBI requesting an investigation using the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, which is a law in the U.S. that says if a company that has headquartered in the U.S. breaks a law abroad, that they can lose, they can be prosecuted for that. So there's also the Federal Communications Act, which actually defines our airwaves as a public good, and that they saw it as a limited resource, and the public airwaves, there's media licenses are supposed to depend on a certain kind of ethic and serving the public, and so we can use that.
That language, public airways, is important.
Yeah.
You hear that corporate media saying commercial airways. They are the public airways. They are part of our public space. We've got to find ways to demand it back.
Absolutely. And then the last thing is Kevin kind of touched it on already, but we look at each of the pillars of power, and the media is one of them. Also, the police, civil service, the military, business, workers, state groups, and there's a number of different pillars. And the goal is to weaken those pillars and draw people from them into your movement. Because when a nonviolent movement becomes a mass movement, it has a much greater chance of being successful. And so, like Kevin says, we often talk to the media, and we'll say, what would it be like if you had an independent media outlet? If you were independent, like, what was it that the Hill paper that we met? Roll call. And we were talking to her. She did an interview with us, and we said, what would it be like if you actually had more control? Well, aren't you owned by such and such? I can't remember who it is now. Some the Economist, I think.
The Economist.
Owns them now. And she said, yeah, I remember when we used to be a scrappy paper, when we could actually really write about what was going on. They miss those days. So we want to, pull them in and show them that things will be done.
I'm from Poland, and I know that people did those things. Also, they put TV in the windows, so everyone on the street could watch TV, which was like to show that TV is live. But I have a big disagreement with the idea that you want all the movements to be diversified, because I think evolution, it has to have a human face. It's like storytelling.
That's a separate question.
So you need a human face. That's why it's telling about one person. And that one person, after the revolution, have to set the goal. And the person who is usually good speaker, and repeat the same thing like during campaign, can create this simple, powerful, meaningful message to the media. So we had something from Occupy Wall Street 2 weeks ago here, and I saw people occupy Chicago. They were talking about everything, and I don't think you can address like 50 different issues. I think the money, Wall Street, Occupy, and the war are the two major issues. So
which is, you know, I think as a movement, you know, a lot of the strengths of Occupy are also the weaknesses of Occupy. And I think, you know, we have to look at each of those strengths, which, you know, leaderlessness, non-hierarchical, inclusiveness, general assembly decision making, you know, all these things are all strengths, but they're also weaknesses. We have to look honestly at the weaknesses within those strengths, and if we don't face up to them, they'll destroy us. So we have to look, and some of those are, you know, not having a clear goal. And I'm not talking about one demand. I don't think we're not there yet, but not having a clear goal and not having a clear strategy, I think are two gigantic issues we got to face up to. As far as a clear goal goes, I don't think we should be to the point of saying we want single-payer health care, we want money out of politics. I think we should be to the point of saying our goal is to shift power from concentrated wealth to the people. We want to shift power from 1% to 99%. That's our goal. I see it, that's how I see it at least.
Yeah, if you go after transparency media, that solves 20 other issues, because you know what you're talking about. You know?
Well, no, you start with that as your goal, okay? So, and we had this debate, because we spent 6 months before we went out on Freedom Plaza. We spent 6 months planning it, you know, so we had constant debates.
About 100 people involved.
Constant debates in, you know, what do we stand for? What's our demand? Or how long will you stay on Freedom Plaza until we get what? You know, and we kept on trying to debate that. We finally read a lot of history about nonviolent movements and how they shift power. And what we learned was that if you make a demand too soon, it actually is counterproductive. If you make a specific demand too soon, it's counterproductive in multiple ways. For example, you can get the demand, and they say, yeah, sure, we'll give you new elections. And then you have a new election, and it's corrupt. You know, you have no power, because your power is not there to enforce it. And, or they can say, no, we're not giving you that. If that's your demand, forget it, we're not giving it to you. And you look weak. So, you know, you win or you lose, you still don't win.
Okay.
So anyway, I see we're out of time. So, but as far as strategy goes, we have the 2 tracks, stop and build. And building alternatives is part of pulling media people to our side. We build the independent media, we build the democratized media, the people in the media have somewhere else to go. And that frustration they feel can pull them to our side and make us stronger, and we can get to that tipping point more quickly, about that tipping point where we are the dominant voice. And I think if we act with intention to accomplish that goal, we'll achieve much more quickly than we think. I hope that the list of people who signed up for this, that those who want to share their email contact, we can share amongst ourselves and develop a network of people who can actually work together to accomplish that goal of developing a really intentional effort to create the media that we need in this country. Because that's what we've got to do, be intentional about it and make it happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you.